I'd also like to thank Randy for all those kind words. And, he and I, we played together and we shared a hall together. We had a lot of fun together as teammates, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and be able to, to help him and everybody at the Glacier Clinics. Well, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce y'all to our philosophy on strength and conditioning at LSU. And I would also, please, I'd like to open it up for questions at the end. This will be a good learning process for myself and you if you'll ask me questions. And I was a high school coach for 6 years prior to getting my first job at the University of Tennessee. And I got to work for J.T. Curtis at John Curtis Christian School in New Orleans, Louisiana. It's probably the greatest job that I've ever had. And I really loved that job and had the opportunity to win 4 state championships working for J.T. And I cherished those years that I spent and, met my wife and had a lot of good fun in New Orleans, so it's a great place. All right, without holding up y'all's time anymore, this is our website address, www.lsupower.net. If you have any questions on any of the drills or exercises that we talk about tonight, all of that information is on our website. So you can go to our website, pull it up, and we're constantly updating that website. And I appreciate Randy mentioning the part about this PowerPoint. This PowerPoint, it's a big PowerPoint because I have hyperlinks to all the different exercises on there, so it will not email. I will answer any question that you have. I answer emails all day, every day, and so I will do that, but this PowerPoint is so big it will not email. I've tried that before. All right, let's start with the clinic.
Hey, Coach, before you get going, just
yeah.
you're kind of, if you can just kind of keep that microphone close to you, kind of coming and going a little bit.
Okay. All right,
there
good.
You go.
Thanks, Randy.
Good. Thanks.
All right. To achieve world-class results in modern sport requires a high degree of single-mindedness and the maximum return for training over the course of many years, beginning with the child and the juvenile age groups. And this is a slide. I saw this slide many years ago, and it pertains to everything that we do. I mean, without, an organized system and a plan, then you're doomed to fail. But if you start with young kids and you bring them up the right way and you teach them the proper execution of the exercises, you can see some unbelievable results in your training. Many years of research in our country and abroad indicates that it's possible for young athletes to safely begin training with weights at the age of 12 to 13. I've got a slide here that I want you to see. This is my 12-year-old son. He's 14 now, so this is an old video. But this was when he was a young buck in a weightlifting meet, and this, is an exercise that a lot of people are intimidated to teach, and that's that's the power snatch. And he was 12 years old here in this meet, and I've got, he still lifts weights today. In fact, he's 13 now, and he'll be 14 in September, and his best clean and jerk is 176 pounds. So his goal is to clean 220 pounds by this fall. He wants to clean 220 by this fall. Here's his clean and jerk. And we started with him when he was young, real young. And, I think if you start kids when they're young and develop an appreciation for it, you're fine. All right, now this is called the kettle index, and I'm going to use my mouse here to show you. This is a statistical analysis of the amount of weight that a young man gains and the height that he grows in centimeters from 11 to 25 years old. And if you'll see here, the opportunity for a young man to get bigger and stronger and faster begins at age 13 and continues until he's 18. Now, we don't get kids until they're 18, 19, 20 years old. So the time that you coaches have these guys is the ideal time for a young man to get bigger, stronger, and faster. And this is something that I got from the National Strength and Conditioning Association years ago. And you can see from the age of 13 to 18, how much those boys grow and the opportunity to really, increase his lean mass and his strength and power. All right, now this is from another book, a favorite of mine. It's from the Weightlifting and Age. These books, there's a link on our website where you can purchase these books. But this is age 11 and 12 for the highest rate for strength endurance. Ages 12 to 13 is the highest rate for general endurance and a high rate for strength endurance. 13 and 14. So you can see from 11 to 14, there's an opportunity there to, increase a young man's general fitness and overall, ability to start training with weights far before what, most pediatricians and doctors would recommend. And what my goal was with my son and all of my boys and the kids that I coached in high school was to perfect technique when they were young, so that when they hit puberty, they were ready to get bigger and stronger and more powerful. But if you wait too long before you introduce these exercises to these young boys, then you're going to spend the formative years developing technique instead of working on the strength and power. Let's go back to this graph here. So at 13 years old, you want to make sure that the boy has got flawless exercise technique, so that you spend this time here, again, getting bigger, stronger, and faster. Okay? All right, now, when you start to get the 15 to 17-year-old, you'll see that you're going to be able, this is a moderate rate for strength and speed of movement, but ages 16 to 17 is a young boy's highest rate for strength, isometric strength, and then balance. So this is the time where you want to already have that technique perfected, and you can really focus on some good gains. All right, now here are some things that I like to talk about before we ever get into the meat and potatoes of our weight training program. And when working with young athletes, emphasis should be placed on developing appreciation for strength training. And I've talked about that already. Don't make them intimidated. Don't kill them off on squats and heavy power cleans and deadlifts the first time they go in there. Teach them technique first, and go as slow as you possibly can to make sure that those boys, are doing the exercises correctly. Then number two, emphasis should be placed on developing the core first and the extremities second. All of your strength and your balance, your coordination comes from your core. But as coaches, we sometimes train the extremities, the arms and the legs first, and we want to focus on the core, and then make sure that we start using body weight before adding any kind of external resistance. It's very important that guys can do body weight squats and push-ups and chin-ups and dips and just basic calisthenics before you add a bunch of weight to the bar. All right, then when you add barbell exercises, select exercises that are multi-joint and ground-based. That's very, very important. Don't start with bench press and curls. Start with exercises like power cleans, standing barbell presses, back squats, push-ups, and chin-ups first. All right. Then next, great effort should be made to select the optimal weight. When you start adding the weights to the bar, again, take it slow. Strength gains are very, very gradual. So you want to make sure that you select weights that these young boys and girls, for that matter, can complete before throwing a bunch of weight on there. And then lastly, remember that young athletes are not smaller versions of mature adults. I mean, they're young boys and they're young girls, and you got to take the this strength and conditioning process very slow. All right, now this we talk about the LSU way all the time at LSU, and it begins with our staff meetings that we hold 4 times a year, and we sit down and we go over every exercise, every drill, every stretch, everything that we're going to introduce to our football players. We cover every aspect of that. We cover the proper execution of those drills. We cover the common mistakes of those exercises and drills, so that there's flawless organization in how we implement our program on a daily basis. And we believe in one voice when it comes to teaching the exercises and the drills that we use at LSU. I wouldn't want it to be taught by one staff member one way and then a young man work out with somebody else on the next, and then it be taught, a different way. So there's one voice, and there's going to be one way how we teach all the exercises and drills in the program. And I think this is important for you guys in your programs because a lot of times, and it's terrible that it's done this way, but you take the youngest coach on the staff or the guy that doesn't have any kids or the guy that just got married, and you put them in the weight room, and you expect them to do the job that 5 to 8 to 9 coaches on the entire staff will do in the afternoons when practice starts. So I feel, and this is how we felt as a high school staff as well, that you take everybody on the staff and you all sit in the room, and you can do it, you can spend as much time on it as you want, but you get, you coach it up individually as a staff so that there's going to be one way that you teach it. And then you can all go in there for a week or 2 weeks and give that strength coach a hand on making sure that every player in the program is doing it like it's supposed to be done. And then you can step back and go coach the other sports and break down film and get ready for next season. But this, if you'll follow this the LSU way, you can call it any way you want, but if you'll follow this little practice right here, I promise you'll see a lot better results when you go to test. All right, now calculating an attitude. This is something that we talk about every day first with our staff. Every morning we get together. Another teammate of Randy and ours, a gentleman by the name of Troy Rice, was a teammate of ours, and he went to work for Home Depot and started in the gardening department. 17 years later, he was named the president of Home Depot North America. He talked about how they try to get everybody in their Home Depot stores to calculate an attitude every day. And so I adopted that philosophy here at LSU. And we have to calculate an attitude as a staff that we want our team to have, and we have to have that attitude first. If our staff is not excited about what we want our players to do, they won't be either. So every morning we have a short staff meeting, 10 or 15 minutes, and we go over all the stuff that we're going to cover that day and who's going to do what. And then I tell them, I say, guys, it's up to us. We've got to get it done today. And then we go out on the workout floor, out on the practice field or in the indoor, and then we have that attitude. We're fired up, we're energetic, and we're ready to get our guys to go to work. All right, now let's talk about some strength training finally, but I always like to get that other stuff out of the way. When you look at strength training exercises, we've broken our program down in a way. We broke our exercises down, and we choose exercises in each workout depending on the effect that they have on your body. So firstly, you have exercises that develop force production, and that's going to be your squats and your bench press and your clean pulls, which are similar to deadlifts. Those are the exercises where you're moving a lot of weight, but because of the weight, that exercise is not done very fast, so you're just generating a lot of force. The second group of exercises are exercises to develop rate of force production, and that's some people call that power or explosive power, and those are exercises like hang cleans and power cleans and split jerks and snatches and exercises where the bar is moving very fast. Now, this could also be a very light squat or very light bench press. Then you have exercises to develop local muscular endurance. Those are going to be what you call your isolation exercises, the ones that I was good at, like dumbbell and barbell curls, dumbbell side raises, tricep extensions. And then you have exercises to develop core strength and stability. And so those are the 4 different categories that we break all of our exercises down into. And when we're looking to write up a program, we look at this chart here first. All right, now, here's a little chart that kind of explains how we break our exercises down. This red line here is rate of force production. So you can see if this line were time and this line is force, you can see that, and this is just a gross display of this, but if I were to do a hang clean, I'm going to generate force reps very quickly, and then that force is going to fall off. Well, in the bench press or squat, one, because of the nature of the exercise, and two, the amount of weight that's on the bar, it's tough to generate force as quickly with those exercises it is with another exercise like the hang clean. So this line goes up. Now, for a heavy squatter bench, you may get that line to go up, but it's going to take a much greater time to generate maximum force with one of those exercises. All right, now methods of developing strength. This is important, all right? And again, this stuff, everything that I'm showing you tonight is something that I've gotten from somebody else. I'm not an expert or a guru in this field. I'm just, I've got 19 years of experience of being surrounded by good coaches and athletes. But method number one is to lift a near limit weight repetitively until fatigued, approximately 3 to 6 reps. So this would be a program where, you would do, say, 5 sets of 6 back squat or 5 sets of 3 heavy bench press, okay? And so at the end of this set, if I were doing a set of 3, 4, 5, 6 reps, then that last rep would almost be impossible to accomplish. Now this leads to functional hypertrophy of the muscles, not non-functional hypertrophy, but functional hypertrophy of the muscles. Non-functional hypertrophy would be higher reps, and that functional word there is a very meaningful word. That would be whether it helps me to display strength or to display power. Non-functional hypertrophy would be just, an increase in muscle mass without an increase in strength, which is important too. We'll discuss that later on when it comes to gaining weight. Another thing about doing exercises in this rep range is the amount of weight enables one to best control the exercise technique, because it's a moderate rep range here, and the weights, if you're training with weights like this, excuse me, they're not going to be real heavy until you get to those last reps. So a person could enable, it enables a person to control their technique. Now the second method, the maximum effort method, is lifting the largest weight possible for 1 to 3 reps. Now, this is the method that we use at LSU after 4 or 5 weeks of good lifting. Strength increases are maximum with this method, and this type of work produces very little hypertrophy of the muscle, whether it be functional or non-functional. And training in this manner quickly leads to motor and emotional fatigue. So this is a very intense method, and one that I probably would not recommend for a lot of young kids, because their joints and their ligaments and tendons and bone, the growth plates haven't fully matured yet. When my son trains with weights, he uses method 1 predominantly. All right, and then when you get to method 3, this is lifting a limit weight with maximum speed. We also use this method here at LSU. This is the one that we use when doing heavy cleans and heavy jerks and heavy snatches. This develops the speed strength, or the so-called explosive strength. Now, there's no correlation in one's ability to display strength and then to display strength with speed. So you can have a guy, and I'm sure you've all coached him, that can bench press and squat a ton of weight, but then when they get on the football field, they're not very explosive. And that would be a person that you would want to do more exercises to develop that rate of force production, because, again, this has been proven by Mr. R.A. Roman, a very famous Russian weightlifting coach, and this was a phrase that he used to use a lot in his teachings. Okay, now, when people look at my exercise, our workouts here at LSU, you'll notice, if you've ever seen one of our workouts, that we don't use a lot of high reps here, because in our program, we recruit guys from y'all school. We get guys that are, incoming freshman linemen that are 6'5", 300 pounds, and linebackers that come in at 235, 240, and, 225-pound running backs. So we don't have to put a lot of weight on them. One, so that helps us keep that rep range low, and then we're training at maximum all the time. So, or not all the time, but most of the time. So we train at, very low rep ranges. On the column to your left, where it says strength exercises, these are those exercises, again, where it's force production. The bench press and the squat, the barbell press, clean pulls, or the exercise I told you, it's similar to the deadlift. I found these numbers in a couple of different weightlifting journals. Now I've adapted them a little bit to how we train, but we're going to train with 1 rep, and that would be a very heavy set, 4% of the time. So 4% of the time, we're going to train with 1 rep. So that would be at the end of the cycle when we're doing heavy snatches, heavy bench presses, etc. 12% of the time in our strength exercises, we're going to train with 2 reps. And when you get right here to 3 and 4 reps, 50% of the time, or 50% of every cycle, whether that cycle is an 8-week cycle, a 10-week cycle, or a 12-week cycle, or an in-season for that matter, on our core lifts, our in-season program is about 20 weeks. 50% of that time, we're going to train in the 3 to 4 rep range. So that when you get up here to these higher reps, you'll notice that we don't spend a great deal of time training with anything below 7 reps. And, we don't, and as strong as we are at LSU, and I think we got a really strong football team, we don't spend a lot of time doing 1s and 2s either. So this area here is the area where we spend the greatest amount of time in. Now, in our explosive exercises, or the exercises that we use for rate of force production, you're going to see a little difference here. Let's start at the top this time. In sets of 5. If you look over here in the strength exercises, 17% of the time, but in these explosive exercises, we're going to do a set of 5 only 2% of the time. So again, if it's an 8, 10, 12, or 14-week cycle, only 2% of the time are we going to do sets of 5. Same thing with sets of 4. Now, we're going to do sets of 3. Now, we spend a great deal of time, almost 20% of the time, doing sets of 3. But when you look here at these sets of 2, almost 60% of every cycle is going to be spent doing sets of 2. And the reason for this, if you're trying to be explosive, you want that central nervous system to be very fresh. And the more reps that you do per set, the more fatigue that you're going to have set in. So an exercise that you're doing to develop explosive power or explosive strength is not going to be that because that nervous system is fatigued. So you want to do low reps, give them, at least a minute, low reps, and give them about a minute's rest between sets. All right, now let's move on. Now, intensity. Now, we use a method here at LSU that's similar to the Bulgarian method for determining the amount of weight that we use on each exercise. This Bulgarian method is it's a little different than the classic Russian periodization plan. And the reason we use this is it takes out a lot of percentages. We do not use a lot of percentages in our training program except on the light days, because on our heavy days we're training at maximum. Our football players have the maximum amount of weight that they can handle in their core lifts. Now, the cutoff is their technique. Now, I don't necessarily recommend this for young guys, but I'm showing you exactly what we do here at LSU. Now, you're going to have guys, and because I get some as freshmen that I'm sure some of you guys have coached that are phenomenal. And, when they come to LSU as 18, 19-year-old incoming freshmen, they've got a very good base of technique, and they're very strong men. And, they're probably, there's probably in your program 5% of your guys are those really talented ones, and you could probably use this method. But I don't necessarily, again, recommend that for the young ones. Now, for younger kids, okay, and this is the same set and rep range that I used when I was a high school coach for those good lifters. When I used to use percentages, I used between 50 and 65% in that 5 to 6 rep range. Moderate weights were 70 to 80% for 2 to 3 reps. And in large weights, and large for me was 80 to 90%, I would never go over 1 to 2 reps. And I've seen programs where guys write up programs where they want their football players to squat 3 sets of 5 reps at 80%. And if they're able to do that, then that max was not accurate, and that's not 80%. And for me to go over those kind of percentages, you're just asking for somebody to get hurt. In fact, when I was speaking at Houston, after I spoke at the Houston clinic, a coach came up and asked me if I would be a witness for him, because he was a Texas high school coach who's being sued because they've had a couple kids in their weight program injure their backs. And some of the parents got together, and they have a lawsuit against this coach. And so I told him to send me a copy of his program so I could look at it. And I couldn't understand why the parents were suing the guy, because the things that he was asking his players to do, I wouldn't ask our college players at LSU. And so you got to be careful when you start assigning percentages and stuff for these young men. Now, age-appropriate percentages for these real young kids who aren't as talented lifters as someone else. For 13 and 14-year-old kids, 50 to 65% of what you would estimate that person's max to be, unless they're a very good lifter, a very talented lifter. And my son, the day he cleaned the 176 a couple of weeks ago, he cleaned and jerked 176 pounds. It was not a max. I mean, he could have done a lot. But we said, okay, that's going to be your max today based on how that technique looked. He's probably capable of cleaning 198 pounds already, but we're not going to do that. And then before football season this year, before the 8th grade, his goal is to do 220, and I'm sure that 220 is going to look just like that 176, and it's going to be a very clean, very successful lift. As they grow older and mature, more, then you can raise those percentages. And this 80 to 90%, these are for your very mature kids that you have in your program. All right, now, the sequence of the exercises. This is very important. And this is how, when we write up all of our programs, this is the sequence that we go by. And I want you to hang with me on this here. All right, now, for instance, at LSU, the first thing that we do before we lift on Monday, Wednesday, Friday is we warm them up real good, and we do speed work. We do a lot of speed work because that's when that central nervous system is fresh and that body is ready to be explosive. So we're going to train him in the speed and the power and the agility work first, then bring him into the weight room and work out. Or, depending on the time and what you want to emphasize that day, the first thing that you could do with those guys is practice. Go through football practice first, and then go into the weight room after practice is over. Now, if you were not going to do speed work and you haven't practiced and you only want to do, just a weightlifting workout, you're emphasizing weightlifting for that particular day, then you just do your general warm-up of having them, jog around and limber up, do some calisthenics, and then bring them into the weight room. Now, once our players come into the weight room, the first thing that they do are what we call imitation exercises with the barbell. And they're going to take an empty bar and they're going to go through the first couple of exercises that we will do that day with just the barbell, And then after that, we'll put some light weights on the bar and have them warm up a little bit more. Now, when you get to exercises for speed strength, that's the beginning of the workout. And we begin every barbell workout at LSU with an explosive exercise first. And you can see we emphasize speed work first, then we emphasize technique, and then we go back to emphasizing that speed strength or that explosive strength when the central nervous system is fresh. Even after football practice, if we were going to train with weights, which many times we do during the bowl season, we're going to emphasize those exercises for speed strength first. Now, after doing that, that central nervous system is fatigued, and now we're going to do exercises for strength endurance. The rate of force production is much lower on these exercises, so we're going to train for strength now. After training for strength, let's say we start with cleans, and then we go to some heavy squats. Then we could go to exercises for local muscular endurance and do our chin-ups, our isolation exercises, our chin-ups, our push-ups, our dips, and other barbell or dumbbell exercises. After that, we would do base endurance training. I can't say we don't, but normally we would not do normally we would not do our speed work and base endurance work. That doesn't mean you can't do it, but you would want to emphasize one and not both. But after doing our lifting, if we were to go outside and run following our lifting, it would be only base endurance training, where the tempo and the speed of those exercises is not as fast as sprinting full speed. It makes no sense at all to have a football team lift with weights and then go outside and run. You're not training speed. You're training endurance because of the state of fatigue in the central nervous system. Now, at LSU, Coach Miles likes to practice after we lift, but he makes sure that there's at least a 2-hour window following any type of strength training before we go on the football field in practice. So he wants all of our strength training done during the regular school year before he wants all of our lifting done before practice. So we start early in the morning. We get all of our lifting done. Guys have time to go eat lunch, come back, go to meetings, and then get dressed for practice. And then following any weightlifting sessions we're running, we always finish with some flexibility and restoration. And I think this is a very, very important slide here when designing your workouts and your overall strength and conditioning plan. All right, now a daily schedule for off-season training at LSU. Now this is just a weightlifting session, all right, or just our weightlifting sessions. It would not include practice. We're going to lift Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We only lift 3 days a week, and our motto is here that we get more done by doing less. We try to keep our athletes fatigued. Johnny Parker, the great strength coach in the NFL, said that almost every injury in sport is somehow related to overuse. And so we're only going to do what we need to do for that particular day that we feel is going to make us the best player, and then we move on. Now, we're going to spend about 30 minutes doing speed improvement drills, plyometrics, and change of direction. And then after that, we're going to spend 60 to 75 minutes in the weight room lifting. Now, in the summertime, this number here is going to be more. It's going to be somewhere, something like 45 minutes, some days an hour after the long warm-up that we do. And you will see that later, I hope. And then we'll come in for 55 to 60 minutes of lifting. Now, on Thursday and Friday, during the off season, and this calendar is going to be from January until spring ball, we're going to do 60 to 75 minutes of speed improvement drills and then base endurance work. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have workouts that last, an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes long. And on Tuesday and Thursday, we do base endurance work. So you're looking at 5 workouts a week as an LSU Tiger. Now, for the summertime, good, I have this slide here. In the summertime, we're going to spend 45 minutes, all right, doing those speed improvement drills, plyos, change of direction. And that's more like 60 minutes. Very seldom do we go 75 minutes of lifting. Then on Tuesday, we're going to spend 45 minutes of speed improvement drills and base endurance work. And this is a very hard day here because we did all of our endurance training here. Then in the summertime, we're going to emphasize that speed improvement, plyos, and change of direction. We're only going to condition 1 day a week during the summertime. That doesn't mean we're not running. These 45-minute workouts are tough right here, but it's more specific to football. Then on Thursday, we're going to spend about an hour doing yoga, hard stretching, and Pilates. And it's a great, we used to do karate, but we've gotten away from that. It's hard to organize. The NCAA doesn't like us doing that, quite as much as we used to. Then on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursday, our team gets together for an hour at night, and we do 7-on-7. And we have everybody out there but the offensive and defensive line because they do their work in the morning after their workouts. They get together as a group. So if you're looking at the amount of work that we do, you can see why we don't do that much conditioning in the summer because of all the 7-on-7. Now, in season, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have about 2.5 to 3 hours of practice and film study. So, there we go. We have about 2.5 to 3 hours of practice and film study. So we only get about 45 minutes of lifting. We get about a 60-minute walkthrough on Friday. and then we play the game and all that. So now this Friday workout here, that's for the guys that don't play in the game. So the guys that play lift Monday and Thursday, and then the guys that don't play in the game will lift Friday, so they get a third workout. All right, now let's get to the weight training. All right, this is after our warm-up. Remember, they've warmed up and ran. They come into the weight room, and they're going to do a barbell warm-up, which consists of 5 cleans, 5 front squats, and 5 jerks each. And I'm going to try to get my mouse back here. All right. Let me see. Where did I get my mouse? Well, Dean and Randy's, if y'all could hear me, I don't know how to click my mouse back on. Oh, there we go. All right, now I'm going to get this up here. I'm going to show you an example of what this barbell warm-up looks like. I tell you what, guys, this is awesome. I wish I'd have had this when I was younger, because this is an awesome tool here, this webinar. All right, now this is our barbell warm-up. That's one of my assistant coaches, Mr. Jeremy Phillips, was an offensive lineman for Georgia Tech. All right, so he did his hang cleans with the barbell. Then he'll do front squats with the barbell. And then he does barbell presses. All right, great opportunity for us to loosen up there. All right, after finishing that, we go to hang squat clean. Look, somebody's bleeding through on us. That's not me. Somebody's cell phone.
Sorry about that. We need to make sure if you're dialed in on the telephone, please go on mute. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Sorry, Coach.
That's all right. I just make sure everybody knew that wasn't my boys killing it. My 3 boys killing each other. Now here's Jeremy doing hang squat clean. This is another exercise that we do to get ready to do those heavy cleans. Our biggest problem in our weight room at LSU is racking the bar and getting underneath it. Now we don't do the classic Olympic clean where we drop all the way underneath it. But the thing that we have the most trouble in is in this thing, racking that bar. And so we always do that with lighter weights. Then, and I want you to look at this, we're going to go for about 3 weeks of hang cleans. Monday is a light clean day. We're not emphasizing the clean. It's a heavy squat and bench press day, so we're going to do light hang cleans for 3 weeks. Then we're going to go to 3 position clean. This is a great exercise right here, and it helps you a lot with your technique of all your different lifts, different positions. We're going to clean pull it up, all right? Now Ryan's going to do a hang clean. Then he's going to do a hang clean from below the knee. And then he's going to do a power clean from the floor. That's one set, and I'll show you that again. We always clean pull the bar up. We don't bend over and pick it up with our legs. Watch this. Hang clean. Then hang clean from below knee. And then power clean from the floor. Great exercise. And again, this is on a light day. And then we'll spend the last 3 to 4 weeks of that cycle doing light power cleans from the floor. And this first exercise is fast. Remember, we want to train speed first. So it's light, and he's moving those weights as fast as humanly possible. And I guess if you looked at percentages-wise, light would be probably, not more than, say, 65 or 70%, especially with these hang cleans and these 3 position cleans. But now when we get to the power cleans, we'll have some guys go 70, 75, maybe 80%, but that's nothing like what a heavy clean day would be. Then now heavy back squat, heavy bench press. Now for us, we're in good lifting shape. If we're doing sets of 5, those last sets of 5, that sucker's eyeballs are so red they look like they're going to explode. I mean, it's eye-popping heavy sets. Same thing on bench. Now, he's wore out now. Okay, there's not a whole lot left. Like I said, those eyes are bloodshot, so we're going to go to a barbell press. Now, guys, I love this exercise. This exercise is great for teaching the jerk, but it's also a great exercise for core strength. It's the old deckgum standing barbell press. Now, Truck, that's what we call him because he's got a big Chevy truck. Truck is pressing that bar up and over his head. I want you to watch where that bar travels. It's up and over his head. It's bone on bone. The ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, and the barbell are all in line, and I know that bar's in a good secure place when we go to do jerks. Now, after finishing those barbell presses, we do a lot of chin-ups. we do inverted rows. That's where you put the bar on the squat rack close to the floor, and you're going to do like a pull-up. And this is good for the lineman who can't do chin-ups. Now, we do it. We put weights on their chest. We put chains around their waist. But this is, whoops, I'm sorry. This is great for the guys that can't do chin-ups. It's a great exercise. But now again, everybody on our team does it because we put weights on their chest. And you can see Ryan is just repping that exercise out. But this is a great exercise, not only for core strength, but also for the upper back. And we spend a great deal. And coaches, when you're talking about putting extra weight on a guy, everybody focuses on the chest, the quads, and for putting on extra weight on a guy. But these exercises, the chin-ups, the inverted row, dumbbell rows, and these Hammer Strength has 4 machines that are just unbelievable for isolating the upper back. And you can put some serious muscle on some young men and grown men for that matter, because it's an area that is so overlooked. Now, we don't do the dumbbell row like we used to do at Tennessee Tech when Randy and I were football players. I have them do it. I try to make it more functional. When I was at Tech, we used to put our knees on the bench here, but I have them stand in the floor and do these dumbbell rows. Now, Ryan's got a light weight on the bar. Our linemen handle anywhere from 120 to 150, 60 pounds in this exercise, and it's a great exercise for functional strength. All right, after that, we're going to do we're going to those exercises that I said for local muscular endurance, the dumbbell presses, plate raises, dips, skull crushers. Now, when you get to the core, now all this core work here, like these 4 sets of 10, this is weighted sit-ups. These are heavy dumbbell sit-ups done between the sets of all these exercises. And then we're going to do 10 sets of 20 of every conceivable ab exercise known to man. All right, now let's get to Wednesday. Barbell warm-up for snatch is hang snatch, snatch press, and overhead squat. You'll see my assistant coach here, Earl Chevalier, doing this. Earl's doing his hang snatch. Now, he should be shifting his feet out. I got to get on Earl about that technique. Now he's going to do the snatch grip press. And coaches, if you're reluctant to introduce the snatch because of injuries and stuff, I just want to let you know that if you want to start, if you want to do snatches, but you just don't feel comfortable doing it or teaching it, have them start with just the bar. And you can do this exercise. You can do 5 sets of 5 of these things, of this hang snatch, snatch press, and then this overhead squat. But I'm going to, we've been doing snatches here for, since 2000. And, shoulder injuries are non-existent. I want to knock on wood here, but, we might have 2 or 3 shoulder surgeries a year, and they're usually AC joints. And, I've got friends in the business that don't do snatches or jerks, and I don't want to mention any names, but there's a team in our conference, their staff called us and said, what do y'all do for shoulders? They have 21 labrum tears this season. And this year we had 1 labrum tear that required surgery and 1 AC joint. So if you want to do the snatch, you do this right here, you won't have a problem. Then we go to hang squat snatch. It's just like the hang squat clean. Just like the hang squat clean. And you'll see Coach Chevalier here dropping in that bottom position. Great exercise. And I'm glad our players saw it on Pro Day this year. We had 2 coaches in the NFL. The first thing that they did, they had our linemen, they had them do overhead squat with a broomstick. And that was on our Pro Day when the NFL scouts came to LSU. And this is a great exercise. It's one of the best exercises you'll ever do. You don't have to do them for strength. Do them for balance, flexibility, functional strength. All right? Then we get into the meat and potatoes of the workout. We'll spend, just like on hang cleans, we'll spend 3 to 4 weeks doing hang snatch, 3 to 4 weeks doing 3-position snatch, and then 3 to 4 weeks doing snatches from the floor. And we may progress quicker in the cleans than we do in the snatch because we clean more often than the snatch. Whoops. We always clean better than we snatch. All right, now watch Ryan here. This is the 3-position snatch. So that's the hang snatch. This is the hang snatch from below knee. And then this is going to be power snatch from the floor. That would be one set. We'll do 5 sets of that. We do box step-ups. Now, this box step-up is a great exercise. I've been doing this since I was an assistant coach at the University of Tennessee. We've never had a problem. And our average training weight for a receiver or DB here is 308 pounds. I mean, we have good boxes. We teach them to put the entire foot on the box. We drive that leg up, and we're standing on one foot. Now, just imagine, when I was at Miami, Santana Moss standing up there with 308 pounds. Josh Reed, the Biletnikoff Award winner that we had here at LSU, did 350 pounds like this. And if you notice, Paul, this is one of my assistant coaches, Paul's got his knee up, heel up, toe up. You know, we emphasize proper running form when we do any lunges or step-ups. And so this is an excellent example of an exercise that we do in the weight room where we emphasize knee up, heel up, toe up. And again, every wide receiver DB that I've ever coached that was a good player, by the time he's a senior, will average 308 pounds. We do walking lunges, another great exercise here for lower body strength and power. You'll see Paul demonstrate this exercise and demonstrate knee up, heel up, toe up. Now, we don't do lunges in place. Now, we have a big weight room. We use shorter bars. This is a 5-foot bar that Paul's using. We load the bar up, and we go walking lunges. And the lightest weight that we'll use on this exercise is 135 pounds. All right, then we go to incline bench for 3 to 4 weeks, dumbbell incline bench for 3 to 4 weeks, and then we finish every cycle with dumbbell bench. And if you come to our weight room at LSU, you'll see the only set of 200-pound dumbbells that Iron Grip has ever made. We have the only set of 200-pound dumbbells that they make, and we have a number of guys that can dumbbell bench 200 pounds in this manner right here. And to me, this is football specific right here. So imagine Al Woods, one of our 3 techniques of this year's football team, holding a 200-pound dumbbell at arm's length while he's pressing the other one out. Now that's a functional exercise, bench press for that matter. Now here is one of our secret weapons at LSU. We believe in this exercise. We do this exercise every Wednesday during our off-season training. This is a clean pull. Now we work up to our power clean max every time we do this exercise. So if I have a power clean max of 264 or 308 or 350 pounds, we're going to work up to that. So, for instance, Jacob Hester, our starting Mike linebacker, power cleans 352 pounds. So his first set would be 220. His second set would be 264. His third set is 308, and his last set is 352 pounds for a set of 4 or a set of 5. And he's imitating the power clean, the first phase. Now, a lot of people do trap bar pulls, and a lot of people do clean grip deadlifts and single deadlifts. We choose to do this clean grip pull because it serves 2 purposes. It's great for lower body strength and power, and it's great for teaching or reinforcing the technique. Now, if you look, all these exercises change on Wednesday, except for these last 2, and that's the clean pull and the dreaded glute ham raise. Another one of our secret weapons here at LSU, and we do these every Wednesday. There's not a week goes by in our training, in season, off season, preseason, bowl prep, that we don't do this exercise. Notice the strict nature of this exercise. We pause on the hyper. Now we do these with weight. You can see the weights lying on the floor over there. See the strict nature. We don't use speed. We don't use speed on this exercise. This is Earl Chevalier, my longtime assistant. In fact, he's our senior staff member. Earl was an undergraduate student here, and he volunteered in our weight room, and he got his master's. And now he's an assistant coach and just does a phenomenal job. And Earl works with all of our wide receivers, and that's something else I'd like to let y'all understand, that all of our coaches here at LSU have groups that they work with. And so Earl works with our receivers. Paul Jackson works with the linebackers. Jeremy Phillips works with our offensive linemen. We have coaches. Coaches who played the sport coaching our players. All right, now Friday's workout. Remember on Monday we emphasized the squat and the bench press. On Friday we're going to emphasize heavy cleans. And for an LSU football player, every Friday they know that after, a couple of weeks when we're in good lifting shape, every Friday you're going to max out. It might be a 3-rep max or a 2-rep max or a 1-rep max if we're doing singles. But we're going to go extremely heavy. We're going to go extremely heavy on Fridays when we're power cleaning. And here Jeremy Phillips is doing it. We always power clean from the floor on Friday. We don't do any hang movements. We all go from the floor. All right? Then we go to split jerks. Another one of those exercises that I think is a secret weapon for us here at LSU. Every Friday, an LSU football player is going to do split jerks. And if we max out, we have a number of guys that jerk over 400 pounds. So they're going to hold that bar in that position right there over their head for over 400 pounds. Now, I'd say the average jerk max on our team is probably 308 pounds. And it's actually our average jerk max is heavier than our average power clean max, believe it or not. Our average clean max this semester was 297 pounds, and that's for every kicker, punter, walk-on, every person on our team. We average it out to 297. The reason is because they have to do less work in the jerk. The bar's only traveling this distance for Jeremy, so the bar's only going to travel the length of the arm versus traveling from the floor all the way to the throat. So that's why that average is a little higher. Now, we finished that workout with some light squats and bench. I mean 50, 60, 65%, generating as much force as possible. And then we're going to do those auxiliary exercises. Now, so the basic in-season template. Now, I know I'm going fast through this. I'll tell you what, because I'm running out of time. Let's fast forward. Let's go to the running program, so I'm going to show you this. And I could talk all night and about this. Our philosophy here, equal times will be given to change of direction, acceleration, maximum speed, and condition. All right? So in our mind, not one phase is more important than the other. And to train for speed, the team must be fresh, and rest must be given between sets and reps to show improvement. Never confuse hard work with getting faster. All right? We'll skip that technique part. Let's get to an overview. Mondays, our emphasis is on starts and acceleration. Now, we're going to do some plyos, a little bit of plyos. We'll do regular speed improvement drills, but we're going to emphasize starts and acceleration. Tuesday is basic endurance training. Wednesday is jump training. Now, we're going to do some speed improvement drills. We'll do some starts and acceleration. But the primary emphasis every Wednesday is either going to be on a vertical jump or a horizontal jump. And it can be any vertical jump. Vertical jumps with sticks on the back, vertical jumps touching the goalpost, the indoor, vertical jumps up on boxes, or horizontal jumps being standing long jumps or something of that nature. Thursday would be basic endurance training again, or yogas and Pilates. Friday would be change of direction. For instance, today we started with our regular speed improvement drills. Then we did some side shuffles, side plants and shuffles. Then we went over and did a couple of plyometric jumps. So we did a little bit of everything today, but the primary emphasis, and we did more reps of change of direction versus anything else. All running on Monday, Wednesday, Friday is done prior to going into the weight room. The basic endurance work is done in 2 groups. So we have big groups when we do that, generally 7 and 2 p.m. or 7 and 4 p.m. And the reason we do that other running, the speed running on Monday, Wednesday, Friday in smaller groups, so we can, we want them in smaller groups because there's more teaching that's done. Now, Monday, this is the way the workout's going to look. Now, we're going to jog 100 yards, limber up, jog back, and then we're going to do a stretch, and it's a very short stretch. We do 7 exercises. We basically hold each stretch for 5 seconds. But it's not a developmental stretch. It's, again, a limbering up stretch. And there's some confusion out there about stretching prior to doing explosive work. It's counterproductive to do developmental stretching prior to explosive movements, but it's okay to limber up prior to doing explosive movements. Now, then we go to muscle activation, and muscle activation is just another word for calisthenics. We're just going to limber up some more, before going into the weight room. And I'm going to show you this eagle. This is a great exercise that we do for the glutes and the hamstrings and the low back. It's a great exercise that we do. And you can see why it's going to loosen up the hams, glutes, and low backs. All right, then we do a scorpion, which is the exact opposite of that, for the abdomen, the hip flexors, and the quads, and the IT band. All right, so see how that stretches the abdomen, the hip flexors, the quads, and the IT band. Great exercise. We always like to throw those in every workout. All right, then we're going to do dynamic flexibility. Now, these are over hurdles, and I know the guys in Texas are very familiar with Steve Sylvie, and that's where I got all this stuff. But we're going to go over hurdles. Now, we're only going to do 4 reps of this, and each drill is 20 yards. So we'll do 1 rep of that, 1 rep of that, 1 rep of that, 1 rep of that, or 1 rep of that, 1 rep of that. There's no rhyme and reason to these exercises. I'll show you a couple that are really good. This is a lunge and a double twist. We just mix it up. You know, some people have asked me why I do it on certain days. It's just like drawing straws. But this is the lunge and a double twist. And if you notice, Ryan is following his hands with his eyes. He's rotating that entire upper body. Great dynamic flexibility exercise. We do that for 20 yards. All right? This lunge tuck. Great exercise. Great exercise to do here. This is great. Here's Paul Jackson demonstrating this exercise. There you go. Great exercise for the hips, the groins, and the abdomen. So after doing all these dynamic flexibility exercises, then we're going to do our speed improvement drills. Now these are going to be done 2 reps of 20 yards, and it's the same speed improvement drills that you guys have seen all along. If you notice, these workouts start slow, and they start finishing fast. And then we'll do a stride build-up after doing these speed improvement drills, because we're fixing to run. We're doing drills for starts and acceleration. So I want them to run a little bit at the end of these speed improvement drills. And these are different drills that we do for starts and acceleration. Now, I got all this stuff from Lawrence Seagraves. These are just the wall drills. If you've ever seen any of Lawrence Seagraves' work that he's done, you'll recognize these exercises, these drills. And what we're trying to do is just get these guys to properly align the joints, all right, for acceleration. Acceleration mechanics and sprint mechanics are 2 different things. When you're accelerating, the body's leaning forward. So here's Ryan. This is a 3-leg exchange. So we start with a 1-leg exchange. We go all the way to a 6-second wall run. And we break it down. And I can promise you guys, if your high school players are fortunate enough to come to LSU, I can promise you we're going to coach them the right way. That's a 6-second drill right there. Then we do releases and accelerate resistance starts. My favorite, though, and we spend a great time doing these, we do a little concentrated block of loading after the regular season before the bowl game, where we do a lot of sled pulls. If you want to train for starts and acceleration work, guys, because football is a game of acceleration. Unless you're running downfield on the kickoff, sometimes on the punt, or you're a wide receiver scoring a touchdown, you're not running full speed, you're accelerating. You're accelerating, and then you're preparing to decelerate. So we spend a great deal of our time pulling these sleds, and I promise you, every LSU football player in our program is very familiar with sled pulls. Now after that, we'll do some perfect starts. Again, I told you it starts slow, it finishes fast. All right, so you'll see us. Now this is actually our team. Now our commands are hands behind the line and go. So they all get up. They look like they're getting ready for the Texas relays right here. But they're all getting ready. And if the commands, you won't hear me, but I'll say hands behind the line. When I say that, it's butt up. Hands behind the line. Go. That's our only command. There's no mark, get set, go. You know, that causes false start. Now, believe it or not, gentlemen, that's a 20-yard drill. This is a perfect start. They're only supposed to go 20 yards. But they carry it out because we not only teach our guys an acceleration phase and a speed sprint phase, but also a long deceleration. And so this is a 20-yard drill followed by a 20-yard deceleration phase. And this is a perfect start. Go. So here they go, exploding out. That drill's done, and now they're decelerating. All right, so here's the next group up. This is a group of linemen. Again, now they're measuring their stance. We teach them stances. Now this is Saron Black from Tyler. And if any of y'all know Tyler, Saron, that's as close as he's ever going to get to the Texas relays. I always tell him because we use this video here actually in our own teaching. So here's Saron Black getting ready for the Texas relays right here. But this is a group of linemen right here. This is offensive, defensive linemen, defensive ends, defensive end, offensive line. Look at this. Boom. So we teach them all the same. Okay? All right, now, after that, they would go into the weight room for strength training. All right, now, Dean, can I keep going or should I stop? Or Randy, because I'll keep going.
Hey, Coach.
We're going over, but most
this is Patrick.
Somebody else is going to talk.
Yeah, Coach, you got a little bit more time. Go ahead.
Okay, good. That's great. All right, now Tuesday, remember I told you Tuesday is our base endurance day. This Tuesday workout looks the exact same. We start with a lap around the field, however, to warm up. Then we're going to do our stretch. Again, these are 5-second stretches, not a developmental stretch, a limber up stretch. Then we do our muscle activation, neck rotation, arm rotation, trunk twist, windmills, eagle, scorpions, leg swings, and single and double A hip-ups, just where you lay on the ground, you raise your hip-ups. Then we're going to do our dynamic flexibility drills again. Now, I want to show you one. You know, people always ask me, Coach, what do you do for hamstring injuries? I'm going to show you 2 drills that I'll show you 3. All right, I think these are 3 good developmental drills that you can do to prevent hamstring injuries. This first one is going to be lunge and pull your knees to your chest. Lunge. Now, Paul is knee up, heel up, toe up. Then he grabs that knee. That stretches the upper hamstring. Lunge, pull knee to chest. And if you notice, he's not leaning over. He's going to keep his torso upright throughout all of these. We lunge so much here. We lunge with weights. We lunge all the time in our workout. All right, so that's a great drill for hamstring. Then we're going to walk and pull our knees to our chest. Now, we don't do these same 3 every day, but we do these 3 all the time. All right, this is a walk and pull your knee. Now, Paul's very flexible, and you'll actually, you can put one hand on your knee and the other hand on your ankle to pull that ankle into your hamstring. And Paul's always got his toe up doing this exercise. Knee up, and we emphasize knee up, heel up, toe up. We do not want our guys running with their toe down. Now, we don't strike the ground when we're sprinting with our heel like Paul does here. All right, proper sprint technique is when the ball of the foot strikes the ground. But the toe is going to be up. Now, Paul, if he were sprinting, would make heel contact. Right now he's going to make heel contact. But when sprinting, you certainly don't reach out, and you certainly want to make contact with the ball of the foot, not the heel. I just want to emphasize that. Now, the next exercise that we do, though, for hamstrings, and we do this one almost every day prior to coming in the weight room. We call these Raheems, and they're named after one of our players, Raheem Alim, a defensive end of ours. But we go walking stiff-legged kicks. Now, we got them clapping. Now, we do a modified Raheem also. And we'll do this for at least 20 yards. We sometimes do it for 2 sets of 20 yards. But we'll also do this where we reach out with opposite hand and touch the opposite toe. So we have them clap. We'll do 1 set of clapping and then 1 set of modified Raheems where he holds his arms out and he goes, toe touches with the hand, opposite hand to toe. And this is great. Now, Ryan has got his knees bent a little bit. You want to try to get these knees stiffened out, and these are great exercises to do for maintenance of a hamstring and making sure you develop specific hamstring strength and endurance. Now, here are some different drills that we do for speed improvement. You've all seen them before. I know hamstring work. This is another exercise that we do quite often to prevent hamstring injuries. And knock on wood, God, between glute ham raises and these stiff-legged bands, this is a great exercise. Now, Paul has got his knee bent a little bit, and I apologize for the poor quality. This is not your computer. This is my camera. All right, but this is a great drill. You can do this for 20 or 30 or 40 yards. But it's a great exercise. Now, I wouldn't start with 40 yards. Start with 20, then go 30, then go 40. But awesome drills for hamstring. Now, base endurance training. These are some different workouts that we do. We certainly wouldn't do all of these at the same time, but we do 100-yard repeats, 6, 8, or 10 reps. These are great for technique and easy endurance work early in the year. We rest a minute to a minute and a half, so we'll either do 6, 8, or 10 of these. They're not full speed, and again, it's just base endurance work. Boxes, we do a lot of these boxes. That's where you run. If you look at my mouse on the left-hand side of your screen, we're going to run the length of the field, walk the end zone, run the length of the sideline, walk the end zone, run the sideline, walk the end zone. We call these boxes, and we'll start with 4 of them and finish with 8. All right, we run them nonstop. Again, they're not full speed. It's base endurance work. Short tempo, we love these right here, and we'll go 100, take a 45-minute rest, then run a 200, take a 1-minute rest, then run 100, 200, 100, 200, 100, 200, and you can add as many hundreds or 200s. You can do these in sets. You can do one set of 1,000, take a break, run another set. So these are great workouts. And again, these are not full speed runs. Long tempo, here they are. This would be extra distance here, where you go 100, 200, 100, 200, 100, 200, take a 2-minute break, then do another one. Now, 110s, if you notice, we started slow, and then we're finishing fast. We start picking the speed up on these 110s. We would do these prior to the season or prior to spring ball. Same with gassers. Me and Randy, when we were at Tennessee Tech, we called these ringers, and that's where you start on the sideline, you go over, back, over, back. That would be 4 trips across the field. Those are gassers. And I could run gassers when I was at Tennessee Tech better than anybody in America. Coach Darnell loves, and if any of you guys are in College Station, you see Coach Darnell, tell him I said thank you, because we run them here at LSU too. And then we do these 300-yard shuttles. I love the 300-yard shuttles. We take 3 minutes breaks between these. And a 300-yard shuttle, you can do these 2 ways. You can do 12 25s, or you can do 6 50s. And we tell our guys, on one end it's a right foot plant, on the other end it's a left foot plant. We always, when we run anything where we're running across the field, we tell them which foot we want to hit with, and we switch it up. So we try, like on these tempos. If we're running a 200, we'll tell them to make a right foot plant. They run down there, plant on the right foot, come back. And if somebody touches on the left, we do an extra one. Well, that one didn't count. So we're always, when we do these things, whether it's gassers, shuttles, any of these tempos, anything, we switch up the foot plants just to confuse them a little bit, to make them think when they're tired. All right, so that's a Tuesday workout. Wednesday, very similar to Monday, all right, and Tuesday for that matter, as far as these drills go and how the workout starts. We may do some different drills. Now, because it's a plyometric day, I throw in some hopping, all right, like this is an ankle flip. This, now my ankle flip is different than some people's ankle flip. All this is a short bound. I started doing this to teach linemen how to bound. Okay, so this is a short bound. I call it an ankle flip. But it's bound technique, so it's going to be right foot, left foot. Watch it. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. That's all that is, okay? Another one, we go single leg hops. And we do these more predominantly on our plyometric day. It's a speed improvement drill, but it's also a plyometric. Let me turn this volume down. Single leg hop. And if you notice, Coach Chevalier, I'm going to slow this down and grab this mouse. Watch him when he goes up. watch his right leg. He brings that right leg up, heel up, toe up, knee up. Look at that. That's amazing running technique right there. All right, so he's doing a single leg hop, and that's as close as you get to sprinting. And our LSU football players do a lot of these now. Our linemen don't do a lot of these. This is a lot to ask a lineman to do. It's a lot to ask a lineman to be able to do this. And we don't have many linemen that I ask, especially any lineman that's ever had, or anybody that's had knee surgery for that matter. I'm cautious in implementing this very explosive exercise. But now, these single leg hops, every lineman on our team can do these, and they do them quite well. A great plyometric for a lineman. I'm sorry, that's single leg hop. I meant to go ankle flip. I'm sorry. This ankle flip. You can have your linemen do these. Now, linemen don't bound. Now, the only difference between this and an alternate leg bound is you'd have more horizontal displacement. See, this is more vertical in nature. It's not a power skip. Don't confuse this with a power skip. Please don't confuse this with an A skip. Let me see an A skip. Now, an A skip, you're going to land, the same foot's going to land on the ground each time. But on a bound, you land on the opposite foot. So this is an A skip. All right, this is a skip. And we do A skips. We do power skips. Now, a power skip looks just like this, but now I'm getting more vertical displacement, okay? So when you skip, you land on the same foot. See that? So it's right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. But now when you bound or ankle flip, you're going to land on the opposite foot. Watch Coach Chevalier here. Opposite foot, left, right. And then if you want to have your skill guys do alternate leg bounding, introduce it this way first, and then you just teach them more horizontal displacement. So instead of going vertical, they're going to move more horizontal. All right, now we're into our jumps. Now we teach, I'm not going to go through all this, but we teach our guys balance and body control. That is so important. And believe it or not, we start in January. We start in January by teaching the plyometrics like this because we want to teach them how to land and how to have body control. So this is how we do vertical jumps. Pause, pause, pause. And we teach every jump like that, whether it's a vertical jump or a horizontal jump. We teach them all to pause. So here's Ryan, pause, pause, pause. Now, then we teach them to do it without a pause. Now, this is one of my favorite exercises here. And this is a great measure. You want to be able to go 10 yards in this drill. Aaron Osmus. Aaron, in fact, guys, is the head string coach at North Texas now. He was a head string coach at Ole Miss, but they fired him. But he was an assistant at USC. He was a shot putter and graduate assistant at the University of Tennessee. And I named my second son after Aaron. Aaron, at 275 pounds, used to go 10 yards in this drill right here. Aaron would go 10 yards. Boom. Now, Ryan just went 9. And Ryan's about a 235-pound ex-linebacker. So just imagine a 275-pound shot putter going 10 yards. And I used to make money. I used to bet the football players all the time that he could do it. Now, my son, my 13-year-old, at 13 is going 8 yards in this exercise without a pause. So this is a good measure of lower body strength and power, and you want all your guys to be able to go at least 10 yards. And our good players, our NFL safeties, running backs, wide receivers can go 11 yards in this exercise. All right, now let's look at some other things here, some plyometrics. Well, I tell you what, I don't have the stick jumps in there. I'm sorry, but these are all just different plyos that you could do. But do me a favor, teach them to land before you have them do it. All right, please teach them good balance and body control before you teach them. All right, now Thursday is another running day, and then Friday is going to be our agility day. All right, we start with the same warm-up on Friday. All right, after that, we're going to do our warm-up or our speed improvement drills are going to be more agility in nature. So because, we're going to do agility work, just like on Wednesday, part of our speed improvement drills included some bounding drills. On Friday, our speed improvement drills are going to have more of a lateral component. So we're going to shuffle. And then we do a football karaoke, which is a low karaoke, classic karaoke exercise. Let me show you this one. All right, look at me. I got on there, Randy. Look at that.
All right.
I still got it. All right, so, I cut it short because I fell down. All right, there's football karaoke. Then a difference there would be high knee karaoke. All right, so this one, it's got a little different component now. I'm stepping over that knee. All right, so we go high knee karaoke. And, guys, if you notice, our strength coach, we practice what we preach. These are the only two drills that you'll ever see me demonstrate, that seated arm swing. But if you notice there, that warm-up has more of a lateral component. Then, we hit the quick foot ladders every Friday. And we don't do a lot of drills. A lot of people do a lot of different type of drills in the quick foot ladders, but we stick to these 4 all year. Then we're going to do some change of direction. Now, today we did shuffle, side plant, shuffle. I want you to watch this. This is a good-looking drill. We're almost done. We did a lot of this work today. This is a shuffle. Whoops. Shuffle, side plant, boom, off the line, boom, off the line. Now, see that inside lean? I want to go back. I want to show you that first. We teach them. We break it down. Guys, we break this training down here at LSU. Whoops. We break this training down here at LSU into, wait, that should be walking side plant. That shouldn't be my big ugly mug up there. Wrong drill. All right, I'll show you fast shuffle. Well, you'll see the side plant. All right, because we're going to teach this. We're going to teach them how to change or how to plant laterally. We teach them to decelerate, just like we teach. We're going to teach. Boom. Oh, there we go. All right. Now we start by teaching a lean. We have them just stand in line. We'll go lean, lean, lean. That's a side plant. We want our football players at LSU headed in the opposite direction before they ever stick their foot in the ground. And I hope that makes sense. And what we do, we teach, like, for instance, our D-line. When they rush the passer, we want them, let's say all of a sudden they rush the passer and then they realize that it's a bubble screen. When that D-lineman plants, we want him to stick his foot in the ground and be headed in the direction that the screen is going before the ball is ever out of the quarterback's hand. So that's why, and I'll show you this. This is going to be a sprint, side plant sprint. And this is a good example of what a pass rush would look like if it were a draw. All right, so he's going to get upfield, side plant, boom, chase the draw down. Okay, so we break it down. Now, we do that. Now, we teach sprint, side plant, shuffle, side plant. We teach them to decelerate. A lot of this stuff is not up here. But, we break it down to the most simple form, and then we introduce it for them. So then when we go out on the field, there's a good transition. All right, now I went over, Randy, and I apologize, but I always make more slides than the time allotted. So if there's anybody out there that got any questions, I'll stay as late as I can. As long as my wife and my 3 boys will let me, I'll answer questions.
That was great information there, and man, just appreciate it. I know there'll be a lot of questions here, so I'm going to say a few words. And Patrick, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm switching it over here real quick, Coach. I'm going to take Coach Moffit. I'm going to take control from you for just a minute.
All right, good deal.
We will go ahead and get ready to take questions. So, Randy, if you just give me a second, let me coach the guys up on how to ask those questions, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Randy.
I'm going to be real quick too, Patrick. So I'm sure the questions will roll in pretty quick. So I'm going to be quick on mine.
All right. So, guys, you can go to your webinar control panel. There's a little button there called Questions, and it works just like a chat window, really. So if you just want to type in any questions you have, I'll relay them on to Coach Moffit for you. And also, if you are dialed in via telephone, there's a little button on your control panel looks like a hand. That's like you click on that, it's equivalent to raising your hand, and I'll see that, and I will give you, and I think I got one right now, or I had one a second ago, but I'll unmute you when the time comes and let you ask Coach a question directly. While we give you guys a chance to get your questions in order, I'll go ahead and let Coach Pippin talk to you guys for just a second, then we'll get back to Coach Moffit. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to be real quick, Patrick. Just to, again, remind our season pass guys, take full advantage of that season pass. You know, I mean, we've got incredible guys, which is evident by Coach Moffit tonight and the kind of information that you can get. Take full advantage of that thing. You know, use the Glazer online and get the clinic notes that are there and the Coach's Choice videos that you can watch, and take advantage of the sponsor discounts as well as the Glazer consulting discounts. Again, we can set up you know, seminars, consulting opportunities with you. You know, we might even be able to, for the right price, could even get Coach Moffit to your school to do a seminar. So get in touch with us. The easiest way to do that is just go to our website, go to the consulting tab, and my email address is on there and phone number, and just get in touch with me, and we'll start that dialogue going there. Evo Shield, a good sponsor of ours, has these great rib pads that are moldable to you and considerably lighter than the old-fashioned rib pads. Take a look at that. Bill Hoag's contact information is there. And then additionally, DeBartolo Sports University conducting clinics around the country. Actually, they specialize in the sports camps, but they have their NFL coaches on Saturdays of their camps offer up the opportunity for a free coaches clinic for our season pass guys. So take advantage of that, and continue to take advantage of these webinars. Monday night team building, Tuesday's offense, Wednesday's defense, Thursday special teams. So pass the word around and get your buddies involved and taking advantage of these webinars. I'm going to go ahead and have a question myself, Patrick. I don't know if you have to pass control back over to Coach Moffit or what you have to do there, but
Moffit, I'm turning control back over to you.
Good deal. Thank you.
I want to be the first question asker.
Uh-oh.
If I can. First of all,
yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Coach.
What the heck is a ringer? Why do we call them ringers, man? We didn't get no ringers so long after we
Yeah. You know, they told us, Jack brainwashed us, told us that if we ran those, we all made it times, we'd win a ring. But
yeah, right. Didn't work out that way. But Jack Williamson would be proud of you today. I guarantee you. If he was out there listening, he'd be proud. But I am going to check with Peggy Parrott on and get the records on exactly who was the fastest on those runs, because I don't know if I remember doing that. but anyway, hey, reporting day test, what kind of running do you do for that? That'd be my first question. Then we'll go into some of the other guys' questions.
You know, Randy, we used to do more of that, but now since our guys are here all summer, we don't have the reporting day test. We used, you know, in fact, our conditioning test is actually, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
we actually now, we run our conditioning test at the beginning of the summer.
Uh-huh.
You know, we've developed, we want to be proactive instead of reactive. So we want our guys, during the month of May, they're on their own. The way the NCAA regulates the time that we get to coach them, the month of May, they're on their own. That's their discretionary period. So when they come back, we run our conditioning test. And like we had a team meeting today, and I told them, I says, if you come back and everybody passes the conditioning test, we'll condition 1 day a week. But if we come back and we don't score, and we're looking for an 88% pass rate on our conditioning test, if we don't have 88% of the team pass that conditioning test, then we'll condition 4 days a week. And I can promise you they'll be well motivated. In that conditioning test, we have 26 110s, and they require to run the first 16 of those in 15, 17, or 18 seconds based on position. And then the last 10, they have to run in 17, 19, or 20.
Wow. Okay.
And then so we condition them first, and then we spend the rest of the summer getting faster.
Yeah. That was my question. Did you do the 110s, and so you do 26 of them, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
26 of them.
All right, good. Patrick, go ahead and fire away with some of those other questions if you have some. If you don't, I have some more.
Okay, Coach, I've got one. Coach Moffit, I've got one question from Coach Corder from Blue Springs South High School in Blue Springs, Missouri. He just wanted to know if you would be willing to share this presentation with him, I guess via email or some other way.
Well, as I said earlier, this presentation is so big it will not email. Now, this slide presentation, I've got 106 slides in it, and I cut it up, or I just hide the slides that I don't want to use, plus these hyperlinks. Because of these hyperlinks, it does not email well. But I will do this. If you tell Coach that I will send him copies of our program, I don't have a problem if he'll simply email me at my email address, and you can get my email address on our website, www.lsupower.net. And I will send him, just email me and say, Coach, I heard your webinar last night, and would you send me a copy of your program? I will do that. And visit our website, because it has all of our drills on the website.
Okay, Coach, I think that'd be very helpful. Randy, is there any other way we could help out, or is that probably the best way to do it?
It is, and yeah, again, if you need any more information, just go to our consulting tab and get in touch with me, and I'll get you in touch with Coach Moffit and do what we can. But that's very generous of you, Coach, to share that information. Like I say, it's asking a lot to pass that stuff out, but thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Randy.
So, Coach Corder, if you're still on, let us know if that answers your question sufficiently, and we'll go from there. And that's Coach Moffit. That's all the questions we have right now. So, Randy, I know you've got a couple more.
I was gonna ask Coach the calculated what you call it, calculated attitude. Is that what term that's used? Can you expand on that just a little bit? I mean,
Well, Randy, and I don't know if you remember Troy Rice, but Troy was running back, and Troy went to work for Home Depot in the gardening department, and I went to work at John Curtis High School, and I called Troy up and I said, Troy, what are you doing, man? What are you going to do for a living? He said, I'm going to work in a hardware store. Troy was real smart, and I said, a hardware store? I said, Troy, you're too smart for that. And he goes, well, this is not your average hardware store. So he tells me about Home Depot. This was early in the Home Depot's thing. And they did a thing there every day in every department in Home Depot, and it happens before they open the doors, is they get each department together separately, and they lead each other in a cheer. Now, we've all visited Home Depot, and we know that they're not always the most fired up and eager people to wait on you, but that's not the company's goal. The company's goal is to make sure that you're offering good customer service, and that was our goal at LSU. And one of the things that we stress as a staff is it's our responsibility to coach those athletes. And we are there for the athletes. The athletes are not there for us. And if I don't do a good job, I expect to get fired. And so it's my responsibility to make sure that my staff is excited about that workout. And this is how I explain it to them, is that if I'm sullen and downtrodden, if I'm tired, if I don't feel good, if my wife is giving me a hard time before I walk out of the house because I didn't take the garbage out or whatever, if I carry that to my work, then that's how the guys in my group are going to respond to me that day. So, and there's a phrase that we use, or a cliche, and that's actions trigger feelings, just like feelings trigger actions. And I learned that little cliche at a health club I worked at, because right after I finished at Tech, while I was waiting on the John Curtis job, I got a job at a health club, and we were selling memberships. And one of the things the store, the health club director, or the guy over sales, said that you got to make every person that you meet in the health club glad that they met you. And if they like you, then they might buy a membership from you. And so we used to say actions trigger feelings like feelings trigger actions. Positive feelings yield positive results. Negative feelings yield negative results. So when that football team comes in the weight room, I'm jacked. And like Coach Stacy Searles, the old line coach at Georgia, used to say that we fake it better than anybody he's ever been around in his life. And, you know, it's fake. I tell my staff all the time, there's nothing better than fake enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And so we get in that weight room and we're jacked. Now, for me, I love my job. I mean, I can't imagine I don't have any other skills. I know how to paint, and I can, paint houses. I can put roofs on houses, and I can fence. That's my only skills. So I better go to work every day, and I better get jacked up, because if those guys aren't getting bigger and stronger and faster, I'm out of work, because Les Miles is going to find somebody else to do it. And, again, it's my responsibility. It's not a right that I have, you know, to come in there and get fired up when I want to be. I've got to be fired up all the time.
I hear you. Well, and I can testify firsthand that you practice what you preach. There's no question about that. And this has really been great information, Coach Moffit, and you do a fabulous job. Of course, I don't need to put a recruiting plug in for you or LSU. You guys do a fine job with that. But guys, we appreciate everybody being out there today. I appreciate all the information that you've given, the great illustrations. I love the Texas relay. Unless you're from Texas, you don't understand how important that is to kids, man. That's every kid in Texas grows up dreaming about running in the Texas relays. So that's the way that's the way you start them drills off. That's important, man.
Yeah, and a lot of my staff went over to see the Texas relays.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Big.
That is you grow up in that state just dreaming about being able to do that. That's something I never got to do, but surely any boy in Texas wants to do that. But you got great illustrations. It was a great presentation. Thank you, Coach. I'll wrap it up here, and I'll be back in touch. And Patrick, unless you've got anything else, we'll just remind everybody out there tomorrow night be offensive topic, and then defense on Wednesday night, and we'll do special teams Thursday night. And got great speakers lined up. Just go to our website and check out the schedule. And join us again tomorrow night. And again, if you have any additional questions that you want to ask or anything, shoot them to me, and I'll get them to Coach Moffit. And Coach, again, thank you. Wish you the best in wrapping up your spring and getting ready for your summer program. And again, you did your program proud tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dane.
Coach Moffit?
Thank you, Dane.
Coach Moffit, are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I didn't know if you had any time. We've got a couple extra questions.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Coach Corder, who asked one a little earlier from Blue Springs, Missouri,
Yep.
asked, first of all, he sent just a little note saying this was an outstanding presentation, and I really appreciate your willingness to help out the coaches at the high school level. So I thought that was nice of him to send that to you. And then he had a question. He says, do you emphasize ballistic stretching more so than static stretching during your workouts, or do you incorporate both types?
I incorporate both types. The only time that we emphasize static stretching as part of a developmental stretch is after the workout, and then on days off when there's absolutely no training. Because to increase the range of motion in a joint, to truly increase a person's flexibility, it could be some painful work. So we generally do our developmental stretching after practice, after workouts, after all the work is completed, or on our days off.
Okay, great. Thanks, Coach. One more from Coach Fabian, and I think that'll be the last of our questions for tonight. Okay. He says, again along the lines of stretching, does your team stretch after workouts, and if so, please elaborate.
Yes, we do. We stretch after football practice. In fact, Les Miles is the first coach that I've ever worked for that gave me time after our practices were completed to stretch. So we stretch after every football practice. We spend about 10 minutes stretching as a team. And every coach is there walking through his lines and and Coach Miles is, in fact, we don't have our post-practice team meeting until after this flexibility work is complete. So we stretch after the last drills are over. Coach Miles blows the whistle and tells everybody to stretch it. And so they all run and line up in single file lines by position, and we stretch. And then when that's completed, he calls the team up for a post-practice, speech like like all coaches do. Tell them we did this and we did that. And then after our workouts, when the workout is complete, we always stretch. The first thing we do is we hang from the chin-up bars. So they'll go over there and they'll hang from anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute and a half, wiggling their toes and just letting the spine lengthen out. And then we'll do, depending on the individual, because that post-workout stretch is more individualized. We concentrate on if a person has tight hams, tight quads, tight hips, tight low back, then that's a more of an individualized stretching routine, and it's not quite as organized. No.
All right. Thanks, Coach. I think
You're very welcome.
I think that's all the questions we have for tonight, but I think everybody understands that,
Yeah.
if they have more questions, just shoot you an email via the email address you posted on the presentation for us, or visit the website. Coach, that was terrific.
Thank you. And I tell you, this I got fired up. This is awesome technology, and I mean, I can't believe I'm just now finding out about it. This is amazing.
Well, it's a great way to reach a lot of bodies, and be very convenient for them at the same time. Yeah. So we hope to continue it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Do me a favor and tell Randy I want to listen to Boyd Epley next week.
All right.
Yeah. I'll get you a username and password.
Yeah.
Just I'll get that to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to hear Boyd next week. That'd be great.
Okay. All right. You
All right, fellas.
consider done.
All right, man. All right. Well, we'll see y'all. It was great, and I appreciate it. Let me know next time.
All right, brother. Go hug them kids. Have a good night.
Yeah. All right, man. Take it easy. Bye.
Thanks, Coach.
Got it.